RI Unit Podcast Episode 5.
Manufacturing the Mindset. Essentials for SME Leaders, a conversation with mentor Sanjaya Kathuria.
Welcome to the next episode of the RIU podcast. Today we have an incredible personality, someone I've known for many decades now, Mr. Sanjay Kathuria. Pleasure to have you on board. How's it going there in Delhi?
Thank you, Roshan. Thank you so much. I think it's now been a decade plus we know each other, and it's very cold in Delhi. The temperatures have dropped to less than 15 degrees, 13 degrees here. And I'm sure in Colombo too, you would be having kind of a temperature which is not as hot as summers.
Yeah, I know. I've been there a few times in Delhi. It's remarkable how cold it gets. Hope you're keeping warm. You look like
Yep,
you're
you
in a
can see this.
well-heated room there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any frostbite on you, so I think all is good.
Yeah, all is good.
You were a standout whiz kid even in real estate when we used to hang out. So tell us a little bit about what's been happening since then.
So I always had a passion of teachings and consulting coaching. So I moved out of pure real estate active job in 2018 and just started my own consulting. And I used to help small and medium enterprises build up their financial strength. And I've worked with more than 100,000 SMEs in terms of providing them online education. Apart after that, and I have worked very closely with more than 200 to 300 small and medium enterprises, doing revenues upwards of $1 million up to say $100 million, and worked with them very closely, handled their finances, understood what are the challenges they face, and tried to resolve those things. And apart from that, recently I have started my own content creation journey, and where I'm helping individuals structure their life in terms of creating wealth, long-term wealth for themselves, becoming financially independent as soon as possible, and not worrying about paying the bills after a certain age threshold, disciplined investing, how to invest, and how to manage your personal finance. Basically, personal finance is a very big issue, I think, across globe. But in India, a lot of people, they don't know ABC of investments, insurance, budgeting, so on and so forth. So I help them create that for themselves. A plan, basically, a roadmap to financial freedom is something we basically help people. And the content creation journey has been amazing. I started in April this year, and on YouTube, we are now 450K subscribers, and on Instagram, we are touching 900K followers. So across platforms, we have got a lot of love and respect from people. The content has been pure with very solid intention. So yeah, things are doing good.
Wow, sounds amazing. Yes. Just a curiosity point. So in different countries, the SME sector, which you support and is usually at the very heart of everyone's economy, is defined differently. So in your part of the world, how is it defined, and how does that distinguish itself from micro enterprises, which is cut-off line, right?
So the entire thing is, you're right. The entire thing is called MSME. So micro, small, medium enterprise.
Right.
Okay. So let me just club it for you. So the medium enterprise, which is the biggest of this three lot, like the micro, small, and medium, is in India is right around about $60 million of turnover. So that's how we define. In India, it's called 500 crores, but I'm just, for ease of everyone's understanding, I'm converting it to US dollars. So approximately, give or take, $60 million is something which is considered as medium enterprise.
Medium.
Half of that is considered small, and micro is very small. So that's hardly $1 million kind of a revenue, which is considered micro.
So, okay, this is a really great point to start, because as you know, South Asia, whilst being the world's fastest growing region, has also had to weather so many storms. We've had so many webinars called, storm in Sri Lanka, storm in Maldives, storm in Bangladesh. Fortunately, India is pretty dry. And as a result of it, the SME sector has been hit the hardest. SMEs are at the heart of Sri Lanka. the Maldives. They're very important in Bangladesh as well. So
Yep.
if you don't mind, let's focus on the SMEs today. I know we are going to have a quick session today.
Yep.
So the SMEs have endured tremendous hardship, Sanjay, not least due to in Sri Lanka's case, a complete economic meltdown, which was actually triggered by all the events of COVID and the lockdowns, and we had a terror attack here to make matters worse.
And so, very sad to hear that when I heard
and
long
I
back.
think we're just emerging out from a very dark period of 5 years as far as the economy is concerned. In terms of the politics, of course, there's a few bright silver linings there, because Sri Lanka is responsible for one of the most peaceful ousting of a regime, and since then we've had the most peaceful elections in history for both the presidential and the parliamentarian. So there's a silver lining, and the economy seems to be picking up. But the SME sector in particular have been voicing a lot of concern. Let's take a South Asian perspective, Sanjay. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing the SMEs as a whole, and what do you recommend and how do we address it? And I'm going to sit with the SMEs on this one.
Okay, so you're right. My fact check data tells me that the total contribution of SMEs to GDP of Sri Lanka is more than 50%, approximately give or take 52%, and it employs 45% of the workforce. And obviously, when you have such a large ecosystem which is working, then automatically, the impact is very big. If only it's like a domino, it's like cycles on the cycle stand. The one falls, then tuck tuck tuck, all falls. All of them fall together. So COVID, yes, was not the best time to be in the SME industry. I think now within next 3 to 5 years, we can see some green shoots in the SME industry across South Asia. I think mostly the bad parts of especially something which happened in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, probably are out of the way. Especially, I think Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, I'm not very sure what will happen after Donald Trump comes in. But as we speak about Sri Lanka, I think the silver lining, as you mentioned, the political stability. See, whenever we do any analysis, any investor does an analysis, the model is called the PEST model. So PEST, that's political, economical, social, and technological. So whenever we evaluate a country, the first thing we evaluate is political. Obviously, if your political stability is not there, then nobody wants to invest, because political instability means instability of schemes, instability of policies, instability of processes, whims and fancies, authoritarian kind of a mindset. So I think political stability is the most essential part of development of any country. So at the end of the day, if politically things are stable, then only the growth will be there. Second, I think the biggest struggle which SMEs have is access to credit. This is one of the biggest issues everywhere. Across India also, it is a very, very big issue. Though our government has done significantly well in improving access to credit to SMEs through digital lending and digital record keeping. But I'm not sure how Sri Lanka is faring on those lines. Third, I believe that no SME basically thinks of creating a competitive advantage. Every SME is just a copycat of some other SME. And whenever I consult SMEs, I always say that everybody is building a mousetrap. You have to build a better mousetrap. So it's not that, you can just copy the same mousetrap which somebody else has built and you think that you will get a competitive advantage. You will be able to sell expensive. Because see, at the end of the day, your pockets will be filled only when you have significant profits, and your profits only come when you have some distinct advantage, either on the revenue side of the business or the cost side of the business. I'm not sure how good people are with cost side of the business, because most of the costs are fixed. There's very little to play around. So the only thing is, going and creating a competitive advantage. So either the number of transactions go up or the value of transactions go up, so that the revenue goes up. Now, we all buy crockery. Crockery can be bought from a normal store or from a Noritake. And when you buy from a Noritake, you enter the place only when you have $2,000 in your pocket. But when you go to a normal store you can buy, I think, for let's say less than $50. So effectively, both are selling the same stuff, but Noritake has created a distinct advantage, maybe design, maybe branding, maybe availability, maybe the kind of ecosystem, the kind of community which they have built of Noritake buyers. So I'm just giving a very different example, though I understand Noritake is a very big brand. But what I'm saying is, even for small and medium enterprises to do well in their life, they have to find a distinct advantage, which will create significant revenue streams for them. So that's my advice always to a small and medium enterprise.
Right. Excellent. And I think, like Noritake, as you said, is a big brand, but I've seen lots of examples of what you said. For example, there is a flip-flop store where you can put your own photographs on your slippers, right? Which is seemingly a trivial thing, but it seems to be very popular, especially
Yeah,
amongst.
these are things. See, you have to engage the customer. The today customer has a very strong desire to get engaged. Customers don't like to be sold; they like to be either engaged or they like to be helped. The moment you sell to them, they get a little jittery. They feel that they're going to be robbed. So if you have to take money out of their pocket, it has to be either through creating engagement, or creating help for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a prime example of what you just said is I have a colleague who owns a bridal store, and they love to get engaged because you don't just buy a bridal dress, you engage, you try it, you measure it, you can use AI tools now to see how you look
Yep.
in different things. Me and you haven't tried a bridal dress, I'm sure, but it's a whole new world for
So we have to get married again for that.
they should do for the groom as well. Absolutely, sexist otherwise.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep. But they know that the groom just has to wear one or two, simple things. They know where the money lies, so they will focus there.
exactly. Yeah, they don't try that with the guys because we are not fussy, right? We just buy it
Yep,
online. Yeah,
yep, yep.
and on the day we might go barefoot because the shoes were not a good fit. Um, right. So you touched on two very important points, and I'm going to take a policy perspective on one of these. And this is actually right now it's a very contemporary debate. Aligning what you said, originality is so important, right? And
Mm,
especially in
mm.
this part of the world, it's an undervalued value to be original, to create, to do something
Yep.
no one else has done. It's a
Yeah, we
very
have a
high.
lot of copycats. You're right.
Yeah, and bursting out of it will require a lot of effort. So, and then you mentioned access to credit for SMEs, vital, because without that, we're always going to be struggling to, it's going to be a hand to mouth existence. So, both of these can be resolved, if you will, if countries had development banks. Sri Lanka used to have a development bank which used to support local industry, but actually, due to IMF pressure, as I understand it, it has been slowly dismantled over the years. And there are very loud and growing voices asking for it to be reestablished. So that's one example. So from a policy perspective, if you were in government, what would you tell the government in terms of giving access to credit, which in turn fuels originality, technological development, and so forth?
So I'll take a step back on this, and there's no doubt that access to credit is very, very important. But before that, knowledge of credit is also very important. So what is happening is that a lot of entrepreneurs, they feel that getting money through banks and getting a loan is a permanent solution to all your problems. Now, let me give you a bad news. That is not. Just by having money, you will not be able to ever make money, right? And that's where we see a lot of entrepreneurs fail even after getting a lot of money. There was one very big example in your country with a real estate developer. We both know very well. Would not want to name him. He didn't have any lack of access to credit, but he couldn't utilize it well.
Mm.
And obviously, the moment you don't utilize it well, or you overspend, or you over leverage, or you don't build operational capabilities to suit the debt you have taken, right? So in that case, you will definitely fail. So I think another very important thing is that businesses, and especially the entrepreneurs, need to have understanding of how to manage credit, how to invest, how to create a business plan, how to understand what are the risks in the business, how to do basic sensitivity analysis when you're looking at a project. Is that project feasible, not feasible? You and I have done a lot of feasibility analysis for a lot of developers across Sri Lanka. And you used to see my reports, they were so exhaustive, and we used to cover almost everything in terms of escalation, in terms of price revenue drops, in terms of delay in projects. And then we used to say that, okay, under these circumstances, if you can achieve this, then this project is viable and you can make money out of this. So I think feasibility study is very, very important for any project. And that's where entrepreneurs try to save money. They wouldn't want to spend that 1 million, 2 million Lankan rupees to a good agency and say, okay, fine, why to pay that? And we will do it. And then they later get stuck into that kind of loop where they're not able to get out of it. So I think access to credit, yes, is very important, but knowledge of using credit is even more important. So I think that is one thing which government should also focus on. Like I say in India, that governments, before they issue the GST certificate, which is equivalent to your VAT there, if they issue, before they issue the VAT certificate to your entrepreneurs, they should take a test of the entrepreneurs. Then how much finance do they know? So they should create a curriculum for the entrepreneurs, and the entrepreneurs have to study that curriculum. And once they appear for it, then they should be issued the VAT number. Why? Because I know it's a very, very daunting task. But why am I saying this? Because when you talk to an entrepreneur, he has no clue about finances, and finances are a core to any business. So I feel they feel that it's an accountant's job to know about finances. It's not an accountant's job to know about finances. Accountant's job is to just manage your accounts. Finance job is to understand how to use the credit and create better result from it. So you have borrowed money at, let's say, 12% per annum, and if you are deploying the money at only 6% per annum, you're going to lose money. It's a very logical math, right? But if you take the money at 12% and you deploy it in a project which gives you 24% returns or 30% returns, you're going to multiply your money over long term. So I think that knowledge, basic knowledge about finance, investments, how to manage money should be a very, very important part of any entrepreneur's journey. And if at the beginning government can put some restriction before issuing any certificate, I think that's the point when they would learn, because it's like a compulsion. It's like you and I studying for A grades because you have to clear the exam. So yeah, that's my thought about it.
Actually, that's a very good point. So I would suggest, if there's development bank, which is underwritten by the government and maybe some of the international agencies, that not only lend to micro enterprises, but as you said, guide them. So, a conventional bank, they'll give you the money. They don't really care if you succeed or fail. For them, they're going to get their money, their interest rate, their return, and worst case scenario, they'll have a for sale price of whatever the assets that you've securitized. Whereas a development bank should come in, they should be more engaging, and they should have training programs, etc. And then from that perspective, build the knowledge up. So very important point. I think we've been in South Asia for many decades now, even though you still look pretty young. So I'm going to ask you the next question related to what you just said. Yeah. So Sanjay, the question is, what about culture? Because, we work across the emerging economies. We see in some markets, I'm not sure if I should mention, for example, in Bangladesh, there you go. I said it. Hope no one's sending any rockets this way. Basically, there's a culture of, going with one's gut feeling, going with one's instinct. The business people are very gung-ho. They don't really believe in research. And I think the concept is quite alien to them, right? They don't really feel like, what's a feasibility study? Why do we need one? I know the market. I know what happens. I know these people are going to buy this, etc. So from that, you get, I suppose, at the other extreme, a country like Maldives, where they actually would not spend a penny unless they've engaged with a research firm or a, KPMG or a PwC or whatnot. So they actually have data, and they have that culture of proceeding with the essential knowledge, what we consider to be essential, in hand before they proceed. How do you feel? Where do you feel where we are in terms of the South Asian context? and what needs to be done to move that forward?
See, market research is the most important element of any. Oh wow, that's a cat.
Sorry, yeah, it's a
Cat
leading
keep.
intellectual of our times. She's really smart. She actually does most of my
I think
creative.
she wants to engage in this conversation. Meow to her.
She's actually on my lap right now, but okay, I'll manage.
Market research is essential to any decision taken by the entrepreneur. And if entrepreneurs are not willing to invest, I think they feel that they're spending on market research. They should reuse the word. I think they should say investing in market research, because market research is the kind of the kind it gives you a confidence that yes, you will have somebody who will buy your product, and a reasonable surety about your project you can get only once you have done market research. You look at countries like US and especially larger corporates in India. It's not that the owners don't have the gut feel, or the owners don't know what the market is. They're doing business since last 40 to 50 years. But even after that, when they pick up a new project, they will do a complete feasibility, because that feasibility helps them not only convince themselves, but it helps them convince institutions like banks and private equity and venture capitalist firms and other stakeholders, suppliers, buyers, to believe in the project. So once you have a big four or any notable agency which stamps and says that yes, this sounds well, in that case, it gives a lot of confidence to every stakeholder of the business, the ecosystem partners of the business. Now, one not doing market research is definitely setting themselves for failure in the project. The probability, it's there's a research on this that 95% of the projects which don't do market research end up failing. So
All right.
yeah, because at the
Please
end of
check
the
that.
day,
Yeah.
yeah. So just imagine research agencies did a research on this also. So, and I think it was a good research that you need to have this kind of market research before we go ahead with any project. Second thing around market research is then once you have market research, then you have the gut feel that okay, now I've understood my numbers, I've understood the market research. Then you have a gut feel, okay, fine, this is what I'll do, this is this much. So when you know that the area is confined, then you can play in that area. That play is allowed, and that play is called the gut. But if you just work around the fact that there's no, market research, because see, understand the buyer profile is changing very soon. Earlier, the generations were moving in 20 years lot. Now the generations are moving in 10-year lots. Economic cycles used to be extended 8 to 10 years. Now the economic cycles are 3 to 4 years. So a lot has changed over the last 40 years, 30 years in terms of economy. Nobody knew that artificial intelligence will blow off so many cases, use cases of businesses and individuals, jobs. Nobody just knew, and we are not even at the start of the AI race. We are just 3 years down. We have to understand internet is almost 40 years old, and AI is 3 years old, and AI has already overtaken every damn thing in the world. So you have to imagine the kind of adoption which is happening, the kind of speed with which things are transitioning. And at that time, you're taking up a project which is 3 to 4 years or 5 years henceforth, and you're not making a decision based on research. I think you're just setting up yourself up for massive failure. So this is my insight on how you should do market research, and why market research is so very important. And a lot of these people, what they do is they try to do market research through Google or secondary resources. I think primary market research is highly undervalued in terms of meeting the people, meeting the stakeholders, meeting the potential buyers, meeting the potential suppliers, meeting the banks, understanding what they are betting on. And see, we have to align ourselves with all the stakeholders. Only then we can, win. We can't say that, the stakeholders are looking at Japan and we are looking at, let's say, US. Then the project is not feasible.
Wow. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, I was thinking, could you train our marketing team? Okay.
Thank you so
Actually, I
much.
want
I
to
definitely. Yeah, I'm very convinced
let me
about the fact.
touch. Yeah. So, Sanjay, I know we're scarce on time, and I want to speak a little bit about what you do in terms of the wealth management side of things. But before that, I was going to touch on the T in pest, which you already kind of touched. So I just wanted you to expand a little bit. So on the one hand, I've heard various commentators say that AI is no big deal. It's been happening for a long time. People have been losing jobs in the, say, automotive industry over time. It's just that we now, me and you, our jobs are threatened. That's why we're making a lot of noise. On the other side, we've seen, in our own environment, for example, the command of English, the lack thereof, used to be a deterrent for people, especially in this part of the world, to compete in certain jobs that require a high standard of English. But now with AI, it's been a game changer. This is a tough one. Can you forecast the next couple of years and how that will continue to impact, and what advantages might emerge from the rollout of AI, open source AI, etc. Perhaps even threats.
My
You know.
I think it's you said it's a hard one. I think it's not a very hard one. It's pretty easy. My son, 10-year-old had son, Subikshu, right? You have seen him growing. He mentioned to me one day, and he said that, Dad, there will be no AI without AI. So I said, what do you mean? So he said there will be no active income without artificial intelligence. So this means that any professional on this planet, if he's not getting his hands on artificial intelligence, if he's not using the tools of artificial intelligence to become better, if he's not becoming more productive using those tools, he or she is gonna get extinct over time very, very badly. And it's just a matter of time, not even 2-3 years, and they wouldn't even know what has happened to them. And this is not a calculator replacing mental mathematics, or a computer replacing calculator. This time we are talking about serious work. Earlier, the robotic processes or any form of technological revolution was only affecting mechanical work. This time it is affecting intellectual work. So you rightly said that a lot of agencies can go out of business because a lot of now research oriented work can be done through these tools by buying their subscriptions. Though I still believe if the research agencies become more prudent and they start adopting these technologies, they will be able to definitely have a one up on the agencies which are not doing it, because human interaction will never go out of fashion. But to look at things without AI in today's world is a heinous crime. And after that, if you lose your job or lose your profession or lose your business, I don't think so you have a right to cry if you have not adopted to AI. So my son summarized in a very one line, beautiful line, that there'll be no AI without AI. So if you want your active income to keep on going, please learn artificial intelligence, invest in that. It's the next big thing. You have put a lot of money in studying for 18 to 20 years in schools and colleges. That all is going to go to rubbish. It's absolutely useless now. Just focus on creating great skills on artificial intelligence and tools which use artificial intelligence. And I'm telling you that you will be at the top of the game. You'll make a lot of money. You'll be more efficient. You'll be more productive only if you adopt this AI. I personally now I don't think so I can live without AI, because there's so much AI I use in my own journey as a creator, as a wealth manager, as a consultant. A lot of things which where AI really helps me a lot, and it is unbelievable how AI, it's such an integrated part of my life that I can't absolutely live without it. So there's a lot of use cases. Learn them, upgrade yourself, upskill yourself. Or if you don't want to do that, chill by the beach, fish, eat, fish, eat, fish, eat. That's it.
Actually, doesn't sound too bad. That could be the end game, but we want to have some fun on the way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and seems like Subikshu's following in the footsteps of his great father with some insightful comments.
I was shocked with the statement, but I think it was so true.
Yeah, I think this generation of data natives immediately relate to whatever technology is latest out there. It's incredible.
True.
Yes. So after this call, I'm going to go search the best AI tools and continue my self-learning so that I don't become extinct. I'm still at the generation, the X-gen, that still prefers, a pen and paper and the scribbles. And
pen and paper with AI has to come in now in the picture.
Absolutely. Yes. Right. A quick few words about what you do for the personal wealth management, because that's something that obviously every one of us has a stake in. We have an interest. We need to know what to do and what not to do more of, especially in a world that's increasingly volatile. Where does one put the assets? We've seen commodity prices, in an extremely chaotic state, vulnerable, and then some period of stability. As I said, South Asia has been host to multiple economic storms triggered by external shocks, but also, domestic, internal. The P in your pest analysis has been overturned in many areas. Actually, globally, not just South Asia. You look around. It's happening in the Middle East, in Europe, uh, and in America. So, bringing the focus back. So, maybe a few words of wisdom from you in terms of what we should do as individuals in terms of safeguarding our personal world. We have children to educate. We have real estate commitments, etc., etc. Getting divorce is also a very costly affair these days, as some of
Yeah,
us.
getting married is expensive. Getting divorced is more expensive.
Yeah. So, putting everything in the mix, how do we safeguard our assets? What should our assets be? Are we looking at keeping it liquid? What's the mix? Give us a heads up. Share some knowledge, Sanjay Kathuria.
So I believe that in personal finance, the most important thing is your emergency fund. So if you are able to maintain a 12-month runway in terms of, let's say, your expenses of per month are, let's say, $1,000 for a very simple example. And if you have put aside $12,000 in a normal fixed deposit or safe fixed deposit or safe government bonds, though considering what has happened, safe and government bonds don't go together properly.
I was going to say.
Yeah, but yes, you can put in treasury bills, US, or you can buy some ETFs of US, liquid ETFs. I think if that bit you are secure yourself. So I think your first part of life, which is where you worry a lot about, what will happen if this happens, what will happen. So this 12 months are enough to take care of any situation. That's what I believe. And if you can't take care of a situation in 12 months, then you're not equipped enough. Then you need to really change your game. Second, I believe as a part of personal finance, after creating your emergency fund, you need to have the right insurances at place. So the most important one being the health insurance. So if you have the right health insurance, you are reasonably safe, secure under circumstances which could be life threatening, or because as we say that you are only one operation away from poverty. So in case if you get operated and the operation is very expensive, then it can set fire to all your savings, life savings. So might as well have the right medical insurance with you. In case you have dependents, you should have a life insurance which covers in case you leave the world. They should be well covered for the next 15 to 20 years in terms of consistent income if you have dependents and they don't have income. So this is the framework. So my framework is BEII. So B means budgeting. Budgeting means to know what your expenses are. E means emergency fund. I means insurance. And the fourth I means investment. So after you have covered for everything, now let's look at investment. How do you invest? Investments, Roshan, are goal based. So if your goals are long term, let's say your goals are 20 years, 50, 25 years. So for example, you would want a $5 million retirement corpus, right? But you want it after 25 years, 30 years. So these small blips across the way don't matter a lot. If you keep your investments steady, we call it the systematic investment plan. So if you keep your investment steady, you keep it over time, these blips like, even World War, even the Great Depression, they don't matter because 25 years is a very smoothing time and it allows the investment to compound. Just to give you a perspective, Warren Buffett bought his first share for $114 when he was 11 years old. Today, when he's 90 odd years old, that share is worth $450,000. So it's not to say that during this journey, he has not got any difficult times. You have seen the most difficult times. You have seen World War. You have seen Depression. You have seen Black Mondays. You have seen president being shot. You have seen Y2K. You have seen 2008 crisis. You have seen 2020 COVID crisis. You have seen everything. But still, that $114 investment became $450,000 just by the virtue of staying in the market. So I tell everyone that if your goals are long, don't worry about these little blips which come. Rather, they are opportunities to purchase. It's like saying that Noritake has put up 30%, 40% sale. So when Noritake would put up 30-40% sale, everybody would just line up outside the showroom to buy Chinaware. But if a stock falls by 30-40% or the markets fall by 30-40%, everybody leaves the market and goes away. I don't know why, why this behavior. I, for one, the moment it falls, I start investing more because I know this is the time to invest.
Yeah.
It's a counterintuitive perspective which I use. And if your goals are very short term, it's like you want to buy a house after 3-4 years, or you want to send your kids to education, or you want, let's say, to buy a car, or you want to pay a down payment for a house, you want to go for a vacation. These are small term goals which could range anywhere between 2 to 4 years. Then in
Mm.
that case, don't put a lot of exposure on equity. Invest more in fixed funds, fixed income, gold, these kind of assets. So the game is very simple. The longer you can be in the market, the more you can take risk. You can take exposures to assets which are volatile, because volatility will work in your favor if the time is long. Even in that case, if you want to invest in cryptos, maybe some part of your allocation can go to cryptos. If you're, let's say, putting up $1,000 a month, maybe say $100 can go towards investing in cryptos, not in meme coins, in stable coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Tether, and you have a lot of ETFs in US which invest in crypto. So you can, instead of directly investing in crypto, you can go through those ETFs. So a lot can be done in personal wealth side, and I think the biggest virtue to develop wealth is patience. People want to become rich overnight. They want that, okay, my $100 investment should turn into $200 in a year, which is not possible, buddy. It's just not possible. It's not going to happen. Don't have those dreams. Yeah, maybe you will get a year where you can do substantially well, but then there'll be years where the markets will fall. So
Mm.
all these things combined, I think that's what I tell people, that follow the rules. Very simple. Budget. You should know where your expenses are. Create an emergency fund so that you feel secure. Have the right insurances so that you don't go bankrupt under certain circumstances, and then keep on investing as per your goals. Whatever you want, create a plan around it, and consult a financial planner on these kind of things. So yeah, that's it. That's how simple it
And
is.
are you available for consulting for financial planning?
Yeah, absolutely. But I'll not do it for free.
You can quickly give your number out if you want. All right. So if I got that right,
Yeah.
really, your investment depends on your goal, and the type of investment you have. The level of liquidity depends on the time scale that you're looking at. For example, your goal might be to for higher education for your child, or it could be for a
Yep.
holiday home, or it could be buy your dream car. And the way you get
Yep.
there could in itself involve owning an asset which gains value, like a
Yes.
property. So
Yes.
it's like a stepping stone, right? But
This
I
is
mean,
what we
it's
call asset
Spain,
allocation. So every goal
yeah,
has to have a different way of asset allocation. So yeah, that's
right.
how we do it.
I mean, it's crazy in Sri Lanka. If you buy a Japanese car, that tends to appreciate as much as property does, or more.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that could be a short-term investment, right?
Yeah.
So
Like
that's
Rolex watches, people buy Rolex watches, they appreciate over 10 years, Rolex watches always almost doubles. So that's a
absolutely.
good 7-8% ROI. So you can wear the watch, have the vanity, and still your money is compounding at the rate of 7 to 8%. So that's not bad.
When's your birthday? We'll put it out
Are
there.
you gifting me one?
In 10 years, I'm going to start saving now.
So that's a goal.
That's a goal. Yeah. Well, you deserve more than a Rolex for the knowledge you've shared with us today. Worth
Thank
its
you.
weight in diamonds and gold and whatnot. So, yeah, I hope we get to speak more often, Sanjay, because we're not that far away, and I'll be flying over to see you at some point, hopefully soon.
Absolutely. Most welcome. Most welcome. And thank you so much. And I just wish and hope that people who have watched this podcast, they have gained some insights from us. And I would request everyone, if you have really liked the podcast, can you just write down your top 3 learnings in the comment box, so that we understand that what you have taken out from this podcast, and people who read the comment box will get to know what this podcast talks about. So I think, kind of, you can make a commitment to yourself by writing in the comment box that what would you do after watching this podcast, because we are not entertainers. Both of us have very bad, not so great celebrity faces. But yeah, we have some knowledge which we can share with you, and that's what we have shared. So knowledge can be only valuable if you put it in action. So I request everyone to just write down 3 learnings or 3 actions which you will take after watching this podcast.
Yeah, thanks. Well, there goes my dream of going to Hollywood or Bollywood. Anyway, everyone who is listening, please do everything that Sanjay tells you. He's the absolute guru in this area. So please do that. It's part of knowledge sharing and spreading it as well. And going back to conversation, there's a lot we can do in terms of our journey into becoming more advanced individuals, entrepreneurs, business leaders, and individuals in society, citizens. Brilliant. Right, sir. I wish you a great day ahead. Hope you stay warm in chilly
Thank
Delhi.
you so much.
And look forward to seeing you again, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Roshan. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.